Yo no sé cómo, es ok, no sé cómo voy a comenzar a presentar a este hombre. Ha hecho tantas cosas, ha estado en muchísimos programas, ha hecho cantidades de podcasts de radio, ha estado en conferencias, en cruceros, ha viajado en 4 diferentes continentes, ha sido entrevistado por muchísimas personas, se ha reunido con gente que está envuelta en toda la ufología, la conspiración, la exopolítica, la investigación adentro o afuera, como Alice Collier, como Laura Hauer, que la quiero tanto. Interminable es la lista. 4 continentes y uno de ellos ha estado en Sudamérica, donde ha visitado muchos países de Sudamérica y ha investigado tanto. Ese es Brett Olsen, 10 libros. Y el último, El planeta prisión. Aquí está con nosotros hoy, Brett Olsen. Yo sé que él vino hoy, que es el 25 de diciembre. Tiene que hacer muchas cosas, está cambiando de casa, pero estoy tan agradecida que vino a mi programa, al programa de ustedes que nos están viendo en este momento.
And I know a lot of people that
Gracias
are
por estar
watching
aquí.
right now.
Brad
This is
Olsen.
Brad Olsen
Gracias.
for those
Este
little
es tu
ones that don't
canal.
know him. And you're going to know who is him right now. It's a pleasure having you in my channel.
Well, thanks for having me, Nikki, and you're so kind. And I don't think everybody that watches this who knows who I am. I don't even know who I am sometimes, but hey, I'm just doing my best here. And yeah, I like to travel. Yeah, I go to a lot of conferences and do a lot of interviews and write books and do cool things like that. But yeah, it's just making a connection. It's talking to people. It's getting to information out and really just bringing up the whole knowledge base and vibration of the planet. And that's what's really important right now. We're in a very transitional stage with humanity and planet Earth, probably a lot more so than most people realize. But this is an ascension period. This is a time when humanity is going to make a great leap forward, and we really need everybody to be a part of this. All hands on deck. We're the ground crew down here, and this is the most amazing time to be alive. I mean, it's challenging, sometimes scary, sometimes right in your face with the kind of things that are happening here on Prison Planet, which is what I call the subtitle to my book, Escaping Prison Planet Beyond Esoteric. But when we make this transition, we can turn it into a prism planet. We can make this 5D jump. And that's why it's so exciting to me. And that's why I continue to tell people who feel like they just want to check out and can't handle the energy here on Earth, and they're born an indigo child, star seed, and not from here. And it's just such a dense third dimensional reality wake-up call. Just hang on, because the best is yet to come, and we're going to get through this, and we're going to win. And it's going to be the most amazing time for humanity to tap into all these technologies like you're showing behind you. We can very much be a Star Trek generation. In fact, we already should be, but a lot of this technology has been withheld from us. So a lot of this is the age of transparency. This is the coming into our own. It's humanity waking up and going through this growth process, and we're going to go from children to adult in one lifetime. And it's great to be here and see it all happen real time.
Oh my God.
Oh, qué gusto. Voy a comenzar desde el principio preguntándole a Brad en cuántos países de Sudamérica ha estado, como dije anteriormente, y cuáles son esos países, que nos digas un poco acerca de esto.
Bye.
Tan solo le voy a preguntar que nos dé un resumen de estos lugares donde que él ha estado, porque si no nos va a tocar años de todas las investigaciones que él ha hecho.
And I was just thinking, 4 years ago, I was in El Bolson, which is in Patagonia, just south of San Carlos de Bariloche for Christmas. And so just to tell the whole story, 4 years ago, my partner at the time, we went down to Santiago, Chile, and I bought a vehicle there. And then I drove all the way up to the Peruvian border and then got through the border. And then I was a co-speaker on a conference with Nassim Harriman and Brian Forrester and 150 people. And we were acting as a support for the tour with the car and went on a lot of the trips with them and did all the great megalithic sites of Peru and Bolivia. Just amazing to see this for real, the massive proportions of Sacsayhuaman or Ollantaytambo and of course Machu Picchu is just so amazing. This is technology that we still can't replicate. So something was going on a very long time ago with this kind of technology to create these structures. And to be there with experts like Brian Forrester, who was also saying that in many of these locations, they found the elongated skulls. They found a lot of these giants right there in Sacsayhuaman, right there in Ollantaytambo and other locations. And so it really put together a lot of pieces of the puzzle, so to speak. And here's a picture of some of the elongated skulls. And you can see these are clearly human-like, but not human. These are not this shape of our skulls. And the big difference is they have 30% larger cranial capacity in the back of the head, 30% larger. So you can wrap heads, you can bind them, you can do all kinds of things to reshape the skull. But what you cannot do is add 30% more mass. So these are clearly of a different genome. And this is what's so fascinating. To be able to go to some of these locations, and indeed, we did go to some museums that had these on display, that had these elongated skulls. And to see them firsthand, including this one, that's a photo I took in the museum. And this is Ande Hualapias. I didn't say that right, but it's a little museum in the Sacred Valley. And this elongated skull, it was just a little toddler. It was a child, and it was ritually sacrificed with a blow to the head. So the back of the skull had been damaged, but it was buried in the royal tomb. And it was just discovered a few years ago and brought back down. What's so amazing about this little body, though, the head is as big as the torso. Just think about that. So you can see right now on the screen, your head is much smaller than your full body, right? It's probably four times bigger, your torso. And so to go to all these places and see them live firsthand was a real treat. And to all your South American viewers, do try to go and see some of these locations because they're just amazing. And then in Bolivia, it's Lake Titicaca and Tiwanaku. I really liked La Paz, the capital of Bolivia. Very high elevation, everything there. Takes a while to get used to the altitude, but once you do, it's quite nice. And it's just one of those places of the world that's very, very unique, and you have to go there to see it. So then we traveled all the way down. There's Bariloche, all the way down the whole spine of Argentina along Route 40. And it's funny, I had to get to Bariloche by the 21st of December because I was on Coast to Coast AM live from Bariloche. And it was super early in the morning there because it's a late night radio show. And that was really great. And then so kept on going, and we went to La Falda, right around Cordoba in the hills there. And that was a famous UFO site near there, but also a lot of German communities there, ex-Nazis. Kept on going, got all the way down to Terra del Fuego. And that's where we got on a boat to Antarctica for 26 days. came back up. The battery in the car didn't start, but Argentinians are so cool. I just held up the jumper cables because my Spanish isn't so well, and people just pulled over immediately. How can I help you? And so we got it started again. And I eventually sold the vehicle in El Chatlin, Argentina. And then we just took a bus out to Buenos Aires and then went over to Uruguay for our last 5 days. We just hadn't been to a beach or had really much of a vacation because it was so much bam, 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 travel, travel, travel. So that was what I was doing 4 years ago.
Y se compró un carro y después lo vendió. ¿Cuánto dinero hiciste luego de que vendiste ese
Paid $500 selling it, yeah, but then I beat the crap out of it. I was so.
Argentina. Mucha gente dice que en Argentina hay muchos híbridos viviendo allí, que hay gente que está mezclada con extraterrestres. Y aún más, alguien me dijo que hay un híbrido que le encanta comer solo piña. ¿Qué tú piensas de lo que se habla allí en Argentina?
Yeah, there's a very good chance that there are hybrids. There are underground bases. There are giant land holdings in Argentina and Chile that are considered micronations. So they are not administered by the countries. And lo and behold, they're German-speaking people that own these properties and have owned them since around the time of World War II. So you get a lot of mysteries in South America, not just, as I said, with the megaliths and the elongated skulls and the possibility of ET races. For example, in Lake Titicaca, which is the largest alpine lake in the world, a lot of reports of ETs coming in and out of the lake, spacecraft coming in and out. And that's the White Brotherhood. So there's good and bad. There's also a reptilian faction.
Yes, it is.
That has, yeah.
Yes, it is.
That's kind of more of Antarctica.
Yes.
I've heard more of their presence there. But they operate mostly in secret. We don't see them too much, but they would prefer we don't know about them. But they have alliances and they work with different groups. Of course, they were aligned with Nazi Germany in the war and aided them with some technology, and also played a role in the Battle of High Jump, that naval war in Antarctica that Admiral Byrd was soundly defeated in 1947 when the war was already over, but they're still fighting a war down in Antarctica. And it was with reptilian ET craft. Whether it was the Germans flying those craft or the reptilians themselves is still unclear. But what is clear is that the history we have been told, is so much different than reality.
Yes, it is. ¿Qué opinas, qué piensas tú de estas personas que allí en Argentina han tenido estas experiencias de abducciones con mucho reptiliano? Porque se habla mucho de muchas abducciones que pasan allí. Igualmente la gente cree que en Argentina o los países suramericanos se trata más de historia y de ancestros o de aliens de tecnología extraterrestre antigua, pero también tenemos algo que es la mezcla de razas, y encuentras probablemente en Argentina que hay gente más blanca que tú y quizás que yo, y con unos ojos grandes azules, o gente que parece que fuera nórdica.
There is a lot going on down there, and that's part of the reason why post World War II, the Fourth Reich primarily set up in Chile and Argentina, because it is sparsely populated. There are a lot of resources. Their money went a long way. And people like Martin Bormann, who is Hitler's number 2 at the end of the war, he kept popping up all over the place in the 1950s in different countries in South America. He was the one that got all the loot out of Europe, and they brought it to South America and set up these micronations. They continued their backward engineering technology. A lot of the scientists got out and worked with them. and they became the Fourth Reich, which then, while they didn't have a standing army, they became an intelligence force. And this is only now starting to unravel. For example, just this last, our summer, their winter, when there's not many people in Antarctica at all, only about 1,000 people on the bases, but there was a period where all these German speaking men were just trying to get out of there. They were showing up in McMurdo base and get me on a plane, get me out of here. And so some of the bases had been taken out. So the war, this silent war with quiet weapons, has been accelerating, including taking out the deep underground military bases, including hitting some of these military establishments in Antarctica to the point where they have to leave. So things are shifting. And just like South America is a continent of great mystery with a lot of places to hide, so is Antarctica. And if you're able to, with your technology, or just perhaps the alien species themselves, like reptilians, are very, very enduring species. They can handle the cold. Doesn't really affect them too much. So they will try to hunker down, and that could be their last bastion. But I think this alliance is now fighting them back, and we will eventually get them all off the planet. And then this is what's going to happen that's going to be so amazing, Nikki. Once all of these malevolent ETs have been taken off of planet Earth, then it's going to be up to us. And what I mean by that is it's going to be up to the human race to get its act together, to save this planet, to make sure people don't die of starvation and nobody falls through the cracks, and we can come together as a human race. Then we can be a Star Trek civilization like you see behind you. And that will be one of the most incredible moments in history. And that's what all the benevolent ET races are just watching to see if we can do it. And they are here to help. They're not going to help directly. It's really up to us. That's why I say in the beginning, we're the ground crew. We're the ones that are going to have to make this happen. So the more people that are awakened to this reality, the better, because we really do need all hands on deck. And look, love is a frequency. These higher emotions that we can feel is a frequency, and the universe responds to that. And if enough of us start to have that, then we'll have this critical mass, or this 100th monkey effect, where it'll just start sweeping every human being on the planet. And it's so amazing right now, Nikki, on planet Earth, we still have Stone Age tribes that live deep in the Amazon or up in the highlands of New Guinea who get their dinner with a blow dart every night, that are still living in the Stone Age, and they're human beings just like us. And then you have some humans that are living off planet in a breakaway civilization. So you have such a dichotomy of differences between all the kind of humans that are alive, that it's really a very unusual situation, is my understanding. That's why so many benevolent ET races are just watching. They're just watching in amazement, because this is something that doesn't happen so often, for a civilization to shake the yoke of oppression and then to move into this new reality.
Estoy tan contenta de lo que has dicho. Mucha gente debe poner atención a lo que acabas de decir, Brad. Esto de que estamos a punto de estar libres, de ser un planeta que podamos tener libertad. Mucha basura a través de este plan o cualquier tipo de basura que nos han colocado en el brazo. ¿Qué acerca de aquellos niños, de los chicos, de las jóvenes, de las personas que les ha tocado ir a través de este sistema secreto de mind control, control de nuestra mente, diferente tipo de programación en estos programas secretos?
Yeah, I have a lot of compassion for everybody that's been It's basically a form of kidnapping, and mind control is a way of restructuring their brains. And it's going to take a lot of therapy and a lot of process to just bring them back to normal. But that's the Earth dilemma, is we have some very dark forces that have been at hand and have treated humans like cattle. We're just chattel to them. And a lot of these people who have had to endure through these programs are going to have to be deprogrammed. They're going to have to remember what it's like to be human again, and hopefully can recreate their life in such a way that they can be happy, that they can be loving, because it's just so many different things are happening to us from we have just done such terrible things to each other. I mean, not you and me, but these forces, these dark forces that have been mainly in charge of the world have just really, they don't care. They have no compassion. They're psychopaths. And we've been ruled by psychopaths on planet Earth for many hundreds, thousands of years. So it's very hard to break through this and to get by what this deprogramming, and it has happened to all of us to a certain degree, through the mass media, through education, through government, has been very much on message to get us to believe a certain narrative that we are to think that this is our reality. But it's totally bullshit, because I've written 3 books in this esoteric series, all of them over 400 pages, and I don't repeat my material. So 1,400 pages of all the things that have been withheld from humanity. And it still amazes me how this has been kept secret and withheld from us. But this is the Great Awakening, and people are starting to intuitively understand it. They don't even necessarily need to read it or hear an interview. They're just starting to understand it. But it certainly helps to read it and get the details and the footnotes and do your own research, of course. But that's part of the Great Awakening, is a new awareness that we're all starting to feel. And look, we have had all of our human abilities, the real superhuman abilities, such as our pineal gland being calcified through fluoride, to the ability to communicate telepathically, to telekinesis, bending a spoon with our mind, so many different things that we can start to relearn. Now, wouldn't it be great if, say, in kindergarten, we started to learn about the chakras, and then we started to activate them in first grade, and we started astral traveling in second grade? This is how the benevolent ET races do teach their younger generation. And as Alex Collier says, it's the laws of consistency. So nothing is ever withheld from any future generation. So then that new generation can build upon what the previous generation has learned. And so they always improve themselves, because there are no more lies. There's no more deceit. There's no more holding anything from anyone. So every person in those benevolent ET societies has as much information as the other guy. And by the way, there is no more use of money. That's just a very much an Earth thing. It's a very archaic method of control as well. So in my book, Future Esoteric, I have a whole chapter called The End of Money. And boy, wouldn't that be great if we could see the end of money in our lifetime, because it's just been used as nothing but a tool of enslavement.